The iPhone XS Max is the first iPhone to introduce the Max name, whether you like it or not, because it's the first notch phone to have the bigger screen. But overall, it was one of the most minor year-over upgrade ever in the world of iPhones. Hi, welcome. My name is John David. So the iPhone XS Max is still a daily driver for me in 2021. And to be honest, it's one of the most beautiful iPhone design overall. Now, I also carry an iPhone 11 with it, so keep that in mind, okay? Anyway, so if you are thinking of buying an iPhone XS Max in 2021, like a used or refurbished, as a secondary device, and if you have one, whether you should upgrade to iPhone 13 Pro Max or not, well, I have some answers for you. So let's start with how the whole thing feels like. I love this curvy design, to be honest. Now, the phone's front is more or less similar to any notch iPhone. Just the difference is that it has the curved sides rather than the flat sides of the current iPhone 13 series or even the past year's 12 series. Now, you will find typical tactile buttons at the left and the right. There is no difference. And the whole iPhone feels smooth all around. On top of that, there is a stainless steel frame, which gives it more of a premium feel even after all these years. Like literally, it still is a very premium looking and premium feeling phone overall. Even though the screen size and the body overall is smaller compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but the phone is still a mammoth of an iPhone. It's still a huge one. Now, if you move from iPhone XS Max to 13 Pro Max, it's not that different in terms of size, at least going by in-hand experience. And this is the first notch iPhone to introduce the gold color, and boy, it does look good. And the back has a pale gold finish. By a certain light, it will reflect a very gold color. It's such a good finish, but it's still glossy AF. Now, if you look mine, the stainless steel has little to no scratches, and it still does look premium, but it also makes the phone a little bit heavier, 204 gram round. But that's good, I guess. I mean, it's a part of premium field, right? Now I'm going to tell you about the display. The people still admire the display of the iPhone XS Max. It's gorgeous. Super Retina OLED, HDR10 support, Dolby Vision, 625 nits peak brightness, and 458 pixel per inch. But a 60Hz panel. But I think that's not a big deal. There is not so much of a difference, at least in the world of iPhones, because the iPhone's animations are already so smooth on 60Hz. So the brightness might be a big deal. Indoor, no issues. Not even outdoors, but the recent iPhones are so crazy bright in day-to-day life that you might feel that. Don't take me wrong, the iPhone XS Max screen is still bright, but under direct sunlight, it's kind of like oakish, like the oakish. The screen size, to be honest, is enough for people who love to watch videos and movies on the go, but it's still a big one to carry around every single day. So you can go for an iPhone XS for that. And there is no difference between these two phones. Like, the screen size is the only difference, not even the battery life. Now, let's talk about the Face ID a little bit. Okay, so it has the Face ID only. There's no fingerprint scanner if you're asking the Android guys. And the Face ID scanning is still as fast as the latest gen iPhone 13 series. No difference. I like Face ID because it's far more secure, and sometimes it's just like that magic. But sometimes it's just like, truly, I have to bend to look at it. It's kind of like a bad one. But hey, all the iPhone users are kind of like accustomed to it. Anyway, the Face ID is housed inside a big fat notch, but because it has a bigger screen, so you don't feel it as much. But it's still there, and I kind of got used to it. Now, here's the important parts, the battery and the charging. The phone came with this 5-watt teeny adapter, like literally, which I now use to charge my AirPods because it charges my AirPods pretty quick. Like enough. But for this iPhone, you definitely need a bigger charger, like at least 15 watt, because it does support 15 watt fast charging only. And yes, it also can be charged wirelessly, but at 7.5 watt max. Yep. Now the bigger part, the battery, which you probably all are concerned about when you're buying used one. And it also is a big topic for this phone because this phone never had a great battery life either, like something to brag about. But it still does have a pretty big 3174 mAh battery, which for Android people, it's going to be really small. For iPhone, it's still quite big. But because the A12 was a lot power hungry and less efficient than the current gen chips like A14, A15, it was never capable of giving you a great battery life. But it was still good enough. Nothing to just worry about, but still. And on top of that, if you're buying used one, then definitely it will have a degraded battery life. And on top of that, the A12 isn't that, as I said, isn't that efficient. So you have to keep that in mind. But I'm not saying it's unusable, it's not good at all. Not like that. It's pretty good. Like for me, it's not good enough at all. Now, after charging it fully, I usually get the battery drop to 50% after 5 hours, and in 2 more hours, it's below 20%. Now, that doesn't mean it won't last for you. You might vary, but if you do game, then it's gonna be a lot worse. Because when I use it for just only calls and chats, a little few here and there apps like booking Uber or stuff like that, or shopping, it does fare better than those times. But other times when I start to do anything more than that, then it starts to drop even faster. Like if I use camera a lot, if I use for videos a lot. Yeah, so if you are buying it from a refurbished place, like renowned refurbished place, so you're getting a replaced 100% battery health battery, which is going to give you a far better battery life and also a better performance. Yes, the degraded battery also degrades the performance because it throttles. Now, but if you're buying used one, definitely it will have, I don't know, maybe a third-party battery, maybe very much a degraded battery. Now, if you're still buying an used iPhone XS Max, then I would suggest you not to buy an iPhone XS Max which has a battery health below 85%, because that time you're gonna feel the heat a lot. Like literally you're gonna feel it, because the phone will get warm really easy, the phone will throttle the performance, and on top of that, the battery life would be just plain straight worse. But if you have an iPhone XS Max and you're thinking of holding on to it for another year, then definitely you need to change the battery. And it doesn't cost that much if you want to change it from Apple, because changing the battery would cost you less than the iPhone 13 Pro Max's MagSafe cases. Yeah, that's Apple. Let's talk about the performance a little bit. The CPU is a 7nm hexa-core Apple A12 Bionic with 4-core Apple GPU, which is pretty good for everyday tasks at any given moment. But you will feel sometimes it's lagging or slow when you're pushing it too much. It's not bad performance by any means, but all these years of software updates and all these new app updates and all those stuff, and also the degraded battery life affected my performance as well. Now, this phone has 4GB of RAM as standard, 64GB as base storage, don't buy it, and there are 256 and 512GB option as well. And the RAM management isn't that great, but it's not bad either, like somewhere in the midst. Not great, not bad. Now let's clear the smaller ones, maybe probably I will forget about them. Now it is the first dual SIM iPhone. So yes, you can have a physical SIM and also a eSIM. Now this phone originally had IP60 dust and water resistance rating, 2 meters up to 30 minutes, but if you're buying used or refurbished, then don't even think about the IP68 at all. Like no, it's not there anymore. Now there is no 5G, because that time 5G wasn't a big thing, and there is no ultra wideband chip, so if you're asking about that as well. And yeah, the speakers are really good, not as loud as any iPads, but they're pretty loud and clear for a smartphone. But there is no such bass or stuff like that. It's not that rich as the new generation iPhones, even the iPhone 11. It's not that loud and clear, but yeah, it does the job pretty fine. It's kind of okayish, but not bad at all. So if you're asking about the camera quality, well, it's pretty good in day-to-day life, but not in the night, because there is no night mode, so the night photos are pretty crappy. I'm not going to show you anything. But in daylight, the photos come out like pretty natural color reproduction, and very good dynamic range, even if you compare it with today's iPhone 13 Pro Max or stuff like that. And it has, at the back, it has two 12 megapixel sensors. One is the main camera and another is the telephoto camera. The telephoto camera only has a 2x optical zoom. In day-to-day life, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna complain at all. It's pretty good. And the same goes for the selfie camera, which is a 7 megapixel unit, by the way. There's nothing to brag about. But yeah, if you love telephoto cameras, you will probably appreciate this phone a lot. So in daylight, the videos come out pretty great. Like they're way better than any Android mid-ranges can give you at that price. Literally saying. Only the main camera can shoot it in 4K with 60 fps. The front camera, the 7 megapixel front camera, only can shoot in 1080p at up to 60 fps. But not a big deal for most of the people. And yeah, the front camera isn't wide, so it's kind of like a little bit cropped all the time. I would say pretty reliable video camera. If you're talking about taking videos under ample light, then only. You can check out my iPhone 11 in 2021 video. I will link down below. That videos, some parts are shot on the iPhone XS Max under studio lights. Now for the lazy and the busy people, should you buy it if you're thinking of buying used or refurbished? So if you're willing to spend the money on this iPhone, which definitely is going to be a refurbished one or used one, then do keep in mind, don't spend more than 350 bucks or 30,000 Indian rupees, depending on the condition like battery health and other damages. But if you're buying refurbished from renowned places, then you at least don't have to worry about these kind of things. But don't buy the XS Max at all if you see the battery health is below 85%. Not at all. Avoid it. Now, the big question, should you upgrade from it to the iPhone 13 Pro Max? My suggestion as a friend would be just hold on to it for just another year if you can. Because the iPhone 13 Pro Max only has a slightly better screen, slightly faster CPU that you're going to notice every single day, and definitely better camera and way better battery life. But next year, we're already getting the news that the iPhone 14 Pro Max will get the biggest redesign of any recent iPhones. Looking at the past track records, Apple should provide us the biggest redesign next year. Look, as a friend, I would say the iPhone XS Max is still a premium looking phone. It's a premium phone after all, and it still has 90% off what the latest gen iPhone 13 Pro Max offers. And some features that Apple is marketing are probably the features you probably don't even need. Right now, it's not really necessary for you to upgrade. You can just hold on to it for just another year. You're probably gonna get a huge upgrade in the form of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But also there is one other fact that you have to keep in mind, that don't depend on the leaks and rumors and stuff like that all the time in terms of buying decisions. But here's the thing, the iPhone 14 Pro Max after all will be a better phone than the iPhone 13 Pro Max anyway, so in either way it's great. If Apple does the redesign, then it's fantastic, and even if they don't do it like that drastically, then it's still a big upgrade for you, right? And on top of that, you're not missing out on any software features that came with the iOS 15 and even coming with the future generation of iOS. So, and if you're using it as a secondary device, then it's totally worth it. You don't need to upgrade. But if you're getting a great career deal or you're getting a great amount of money selling it privately, then just go for it. Sell the iPhone, buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max if you have the money. The biggest difference between the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the iPhone XS Max is the great battery life. Like an insanely great battery life. You're gonna feel it every single day. Like literally the low battery warning anxiety will be gone forever. And way too good of a camera upgrade in every single way possible, regardless of whichever sensor you're talking about. Now on top of that, there are flat sides if you prefer that, and even the performance with the latest A15 Bionic. You're not gonna feel it right away, but yeah, over time you're gonna feel like, oh, it's a better chipset. And you will surely appreciate all these things, but only if you're getting a good career deal or you're selling it privately and you're getting good money back. So that's the only time I would recommend you to sell the iPhone XS Max and go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Otherwise, I would say like hold on to it for another year, go for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So yeah, that's about it. If you guys want to see more episodes like this, please hit the like button, please do subscribe or watch my other videos. Bye and take care.